Thank you for joining us today at Servant Crafts. My name is Carla, and I'm so excited about the project I've got for you today. Today I've got a crocheted dress. This is a beautiful dress. It's so simple. It's just a repeat over and over. Works up to being a lovely could be a springtime or summer dress, because if you use the yarn they suggest, it's 100% cotton, has no sleeves, but you do put something underneath it, so you could wear it any time of the year by putting a long sleeve something underneath, or by just leaving it as is with just a tank or something under. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited because the pattern for this project is archived on a library site and available for download for free, so everyone can download this pattern and work along with us. I've tried to make it so that you can work along and see how I interpret the pattern, which I think is that's where most of our mistakes are made, is just in how we interpret the pattern. So, gosh, go to the website in the description and click the link, download the pattern, get yourself some beautiful yarn that is a 3-weight yarn, and get out your hook and join us for this great project. This probably will be a 2-part series because we are doing it as kind of a make along with us. So join us. Please be blessed by your time crafting. Remember the person you're making it for, be it yourself or someone else in your heart as you work, and ask our Lord to join you and to sit beside you as you work for this project. We're going to make this dress today. We'll begin this project, and I have decided to use the Patton's Grace yarn, which is what is recommended by the book. It is 100% mercerized cotton. It's a light, so it's a 3-weight. And this one that I'm using is called Night, so it's black. And I apologize, it is harder for you to see the black, but I'm making this dress to sell, and I think it will sell the best in black. So hence the reason for my decision. So I'm going to go over here, and I have 14 skeins plus this little bit of this Night yarn, so I could make as much as a large or an extra large. I think I like to go with the large. It's a 40 to 42 inch bust, and it's going to fit, it's going to be about 43 inches around. So the first thing that we always have to do when we're making a garment is we need to do the tension. And it says that we need to do 3 pattern repeats and 8 rows, and that should be a 5-inch square. Okay, and it says to start with the larger hook. It says to use the small hook is a 3.5 millimeter or an E, and the large hook is a 4 millimeter or a G, and I think that's what I have. Yep, but my G is 4.25. So I may have to go down to an F when we work this tension block. Let's see. So the first thing that I never quite know how to do in the tension block, because they don't give us any details other than what I just read, 3 pattern repeats and 8 rows. So a pattern is going to start, and you look to the directions in the first row, and the pattern is going to be from star to star, and then you'll repeat second and third rows back and forth. So this is just your first row, and let's see. 1 double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the 6th chain from hook, and that's a V-stitch. So I've got, so we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go into this guy right here with a double crochet. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. That's a V-stitch. All in the same chain. That's the first. Then it says miss the next 2 chains, 1, 2, and 5 double crochets in this next chain. So that's 1, 2, 5. And it does pull that one chain way out of whack, so you gotta kind of pull it back, bring it back in line. Okay. Miss the next 2 chains and V-stitch it in the 3rd, 1, 2. So the V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then it says to repeat. It says to do that to the last chains. See, do I have 3 repeats? I have a V and a shell, a V and a shell, a V and a shell. So that's 3 repeats. I'm going to turn. And this, we're going to do a chain 3 for our 2nd row. It says for this I need to do 8 rows. So sometimes these rows with the shells and the V-stitches and things can get difficult to count because they become like a full fabric. There aren't distinct rows. So I'm going to just keep tabs on my sheet of paper here. So the 2nd row, it says the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So I'm going to begin with a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. 5 double crochets in 5 double in the chain 1 space of the next V. Oh, I should have actually V-stitched this chain here, is what it says. On the last row, I apologize, we should have made a V-stitch here. A full V-stitch. A double, a chain 1, and a double. Okay, and now we're going to turn. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Counts as a double crochet, so that's like the end of a shell, I guess. And then we're going to put 5 doubles in the next chain 1 space. So then we're going to put a V-stitch in the center in the third of the 5 double crochets. We're going to put a V-stitch. So that's a double, chain 1, double. And I believe we're going to work across the row like that. So in this chain, here's the V-stitch right here. So in this chain 1 space, if you could, maybe if I put it down on the green, this is the chain 1 space. In the V-stitch, we're going to put 5 double crochets in there. And then we see the center. There's 1, 2, 3 in the center of that shell. We are going to do a V-stitch. So in that third double crochet, we do the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. To the last V-stitch, 5 double crochet in the chain 1 space of the last V-stitch, and 1 double crochet in the third chain of the turning chain. 1, 3. So I need to put a double crochet, 1, 3 in that third chain right there, and that makes the edge. And we're going to turn. And now we're on row 3, so I need to mark my row, and it says to chain 3, 2, 3, V-stitch in the center double crochet of the next 5. So I'm right here on the edge, I did a chain 3, and I'm going to put a V-stitch right here in this center double. There's 3 rows. I can see that I'm going to need, because of this cotton yarn, this is another thing you need to look at, I'm going to need to loosen up my base chain a little bit. It's pulling, but not too much. This base chain is going to be the bottom of the dress, so you don't want it too tight, it'll pull the hem of the dress in. And then you're going to add a edging row to this base chain for the trim on the dress, and you don't want that to be too loose or that edging roll pulls the chains all down and out of shape. So it's kind of a delicate balance. No worries if you don't feel like you got it right. You might want to, with this yarn, if you've never worked with this 100% cotton lightweight yarn, you might want to do some practice chains, because like this I can see that my chain is too tight. Okay, so that's 3 rows. We're exactly 2 inches tall with half of the rows. So if I put this on 5, which is right I'm going to be a little bit short. My rows are going to be a little bit short in height, but just right in width. So I think that tells me that I am going to be working with this G hook. The 0.25 millimeters doesn't seem to have made too much of a difference, but I do need to make sure that when I begin that I get that chain loose. It does say to chain loosely. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and make the large, which according to the pattern, the large size is going to fit 40 to 42 inch bust. I will have enough balls, and as you can see, I'm sorry I didn't show you the fabric more, but here's the fabric. It's a beautiful fabric. It does have air. You have to wear something underneath it. That's why I really wanted to make it in black, because you could dress this up by what you put underneath it to be just about anything. You could put white underneath it and have a beautiful monochrome dress. You could put red underneath it and really get a pop, or yellow, I think a bright yellow. You could put a gold underneath it. But the one thing that I would say, that whatever you decide to wear underneath it, remember that this is cotton, and it is mercerized, so it's smoother than a normal unmercerized cotton, but it will tend to want to catch. Like if you were to put a cotton something underneath it, and especially when you're walking, it may work its way up on you and creep up and catch. So I would recommend that whatever you put underneath be silky, satiny, something nylon. Of course, it's a summer cotton, so it's nice to wear in the summer. You don't really want to add nylon to make it kind of hot and collect moisture, but find something that is not going to grab or not going to catch on the cotton fabric that you make. So if I'm making the large, which is going to be kind of the grayish number here, I'm going to start out with 135 chains loosely. So, and I will, like I say, use my stitch markers to put a marker at every 25 so that I can easily know where I'm at, because I know I'm going to get interrupted or distracted is more like it. Okay, so 135. That should be 135. So I've got 25. 25, 50, 75, 100, 25, and 10. So now I'm going to be taking this out. I guess I might as well leave that open. We're going to start with the first row. And I don't know, I have a feeling that my chain may be off by one. Hopefully it's one over and not one under. Okay, the first row, it says in the 6th chain from hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to make the V stitch, which is the crochet, chain one, all in the same chain, double crochet. Okay. And take the stitch marker out, and then we're going to skip 2 chains and do 5 double crochets in the next. So here we're going to skip 1, 2, and we put the 5 doubles. So this is the same 3 rows that we were doing to make our tension block. Take out these stitch markers so I don't have to keep stopping to take them out. Okay, and then skip 2 chains and V-stitch, and we're going to do this all the way along the chain. V-stitch is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then skip 2 right here, and we'll do the 5 double crochets. I will catch you back when I get this row done, and we'll start the next one. Right, I think I got it straight now. Now, in the directions, it says to work the first row to the last 3 chains. So that's where I'm at, and I wanted to come back with you for that. The last 3 chains, and then it says miss 2, and in the very last chain to put 1 double crochet. So that's what we're going to do right there. And then it says to turn. So you can see I've got this very long base chain with my first row, and it gets misshapen a bit, you know, when you're putting those 5 double crochets in one chain space, and it looks like, oh man, this is way too loose and this is gonna be terrible. But if you tug on it a bit, let it all kind of straighten itself out and even itself out, it should be just exactly fine. So anyways, so at least I think I got mine loose enough. It's going to be a hair tighter than the rest of the fabric. There's just as much you can do about that. But I think that if it does, the hem does pull in slightly, that's okay. That's kind of part of the shape of the dress. So now we're ready to start row 2. And it says to begin with chain 3. Get that tail out of the way. And my number of chains ended up being just right, so thanks for all those who are hoping that was the case. So 1, 2, 3 chains, and 5 double in the first chain space of this V. So I'm right on track. I'm so thankful. Thank you, Lord, for being in the same pattern, in the same sync with the pattern. So 5 double crochets in this, which is, you can see, is my V, and here's my chain 1 space, and then we're going to put a V in the top. Here you have 1, 2, 3, and that third double crochet is where the V is going to go, and we're going to go all the way across like that. So 5 doubles in this chain 1 space. 1, including to the last V-stitch. On that last V-stitch, we're going to put 5 doubles in the chain 1 space of the last V-stitch and 1 double in the 3rd chain of the turning chain. Okay, so I will catch you back after I get that done, and you can see what that end is going to look like there. So here's my V-stitch. It's 5 double crochets. Out of curiosity, this is really a pretty simple pattern. It says it's intermediate. Yeah, but you do a lot of the same to shape the whole dress. The whole fabric of the entire dress is done in this 5 double crochet group with a V-stitch and a 5 double crochet. So there isn't a lot of changing and mixing up of the stitch. You kind of get used to that pattern, and you just increase and decrease as you need to. Actually, it's all decrease, really, because you start at the widest part of the dress and work your way up. And you can see, I think they've got a diagram here. Here it is, right here, that you can see. You're going to work your widest part of the dress up to here, and then it's just a series of decreases, maintain straight, decrease to here, and then we're going to start, actually in the back it goes all the way up to here, and then we're going to have a little bit of decrease to create those shoulders. So it's all decreases, no increases. Pretty, got to watch what you're doing, got to watch where you're going, keep your rows counted, but relatively simple for a garment, so maybe a good first garment try. Okay, I am finishing work of further 4 rows in pattern. I have just a little bit more to go, and what I did was, we did the first row together. I showed you most of the second row. The third row is the same. It's just you start with a V-stitch with a chain 3 and a V-stitch in the center of the 5 doubles, and then you continue on from there. And it says the last 2 rows, row 2 and row 3, form the pattern for the shell. So work of further 4 rows in pattern. So what I did is I put for myself down, I needed to do, when I finished that 3rd row, I needed to do row 2, row 3, row 2, row 3. And that would be 4 rows in the pattern. So I'm just now finishing that row 3, the last of that row 3, and then we're going to go into the shape the sides for the first row. And so just so that you can see what that means, sorry, there we go. What that means, I would have you consult the diagram for the dress here. So what we're doing is we're finishing these rows of this straight side right here. Then we're going to go up to the decreasing rows here. That's what we're going to begin when it means shaping the side, okay? And that is going to be a significant repeat of rows. So you'll want to make sure that you have a way to keep track of it. So here is the fabric so far. You can see this is the straight side of the bottom of the dress, and you can see it's pretty significant. It's let me see, that's 2 feet 24 inches plus another 12. It's 36 inches across the bottom there. So let's finish this last row of our repeat, and then we'll work together on the first row of the side shaping. There is the end, and you can see I forgot to mention that I've marked the right side of the fabric with a stitch marker, and I put it through the loops of the 5 doubles so that it doesn't show on the other side. So this is the wrong side, and this indicates the right side. And so in our directions it says shaping sides first row, wrong side, which is perfect because that we're going to turn, and we are now working on the wrong side. So we're going to chain 3, it says to begin. And then 3 doubles in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. So we're only going to put 3 in here. 1, 2, 3. So it's like a half shell. Okay, 3 double in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. Now we're going to start the repeat. V-stitch in the center double of this 5, and 5 doubles in the V-stitch. Repeat to the last V-stitch, and then in the last V-stitch we're going to do what we did in the beginning. 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space of the last V-stitch, and 1 double in the 3rd chain of the turning chain. Okay, not too much different. We're just using a half shell of 3 doubles, both on this edge, and then when we work our way over here in this V-stitch we'll also do 3 doubles and 1 double in this chain, 3rd chain right here, to finish the edge. Okay, so we'll work across there, and I'll come back to the 2nd row. And what I like to do, just let me see if I have, oh, I do, good. Okay. I keep, along with my notebook, I keep one of these little sticky notepads. It's not very sticky anymore, it's getting pretty old. But I can use that to mark where I am in my pattern. So you can see here, I know that when I finish this row, that I finished the first row, and I'm going to move my sticky note down to the next row so I can read it. And that just helps me to stay on track. Another little tip, you can also make hash marks and things like you do in the little notebook on the sticky note, which I do frequently, and that then means that all I have to have is my book right here with me. Now we're going to go to the 2nd row, and it says we have turned, and we're going to chain 3 as we usually do. 1, 2, 3, and then it says 1 double crochet in the center double crochet of these 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We're going to put 1 double crochet right in the middle of those 3. Then we're going to 5 in the chain 1 space and V-stitch in the center of the 5 double crochets, and we're going to repeat to the last 3 double crochets. So we're going to repeat our normal pattern till we get over here to the last 3 of our double crochets there. We're going to put 1 double crochet in the center and 1 double crochet in the top of the chain 3 space, and then we're going to turn. Okay, it said to end this row with 1 double crochet right here in the middle of the 3 double crochets on the previous row, and then a double crochet in the 3rd chain. So that's row 2. Let's look at row 3. I'm going to turn our fabric. Oops. Chain 3. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet in the next double crochet. So that chain 3 was on the top of that ending double crochet, and now it says I should double crochet in this double crochet right here in that double crochet that was in the center there. Then it says V-stitch in the center of the 5 doubles and 5 double crochets in the center of the V. Repeat to the last 2 double crochets. So when you get to the last 2, so from here we're going to work in pattern V5, V5, so on. You've got that. You've got the pattern. So when we get to the end here, we've got a double crochet and a chain 1. So 1 double crochet in the top of this double crochet right here, and 1 double crochet in the 3rd chain. I can get it. It got kind of tight right there. In the 3rd chain of the chain 3, and then we're going to turn. Okay, so we're in this row, we're putting a double in the double that was the center of those 3, and a double in our either chain 1 or chain 3 or in our 2nd double crochet, and the rest is in pattern. Okay, now we're about ready to start the 4th row, but I just wanted you to be able to see how this is pretty much straight here and how we're beginning to get a curve, and that's what's happening to shape the side seams. So that's what we're doing. That's what's happening as a result of what we're doing, I should say. So let's move down to the 4th row, which says I have turned my work already, so I am going to chain 3 like it says 1, 2, 3, and then it says miss the next double crochet and 5 double crochet in the chain 1 space of the next V. So I've chained to meet this double crochet. We're going to skip this double and go straight into this V with the full 5 double crochets. And we're going to V-stitch in the center of this double crochet and then continue down the row in the pattern. Well, get to this other side, at this end, let's see, it says to the last V-stitch, we're going to 5 double crochet right there in that last V-stitch, miss this double, and double crochet in the top of the turning chain right there. So we're going to miss this double. 5 doubles here, skip, and a double in the top of the turning chain. And that will finish this 4th row. Okay. 5th row, and it says, here we go, chain 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and double crochet in the center double crochet of the next 5. So we've got a group of 5 here, and so we're going to put in 1 double, it says, right there in that center double, the center of the 5 double crochet. Okay, so that's it. 1 double in the center of that 5, so not a V stitch, but kind of just a half. And then we're going to move on with the pattern with 5 doubles in the V in the top of that 5 group, and on until we get to the end, to the last 6 double crochets. So if we come over here to the end, we've got a group of 5 and then 1 chain. So that would be the last 6. So we're going to put 1 double crochet in the center there of the 5 and a double crochet in the top of the turning chain. And that's going to decrease that row. All right, I've finished the 5th row, and it's time to look at the 6th. So it says chain 3, which is how we usually start. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochet. 3 double crochet in the next double crochet. Okay, so right here is the top of that next double crochet. 1, 2, 3, then V-stitch in the center of the next 5 group. And 5 double crochet in the next V-stitch and on until we get that out of the way, until we get, it says, to the last 2 double crochet, which is this double crochet and this chain, which counts as a double crochet. We're going to put 3 double crochets in the top of this stitch right here, and then 1 double crochet in the top of the turning chain, and then turn with a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1 double crochet in the center of these 3. So right here, and then we go right back to the pattern, 5 doubles in the V, a V in the top of the 5 until we get to the last 3 double crochets right here. We're going to put 1 double in the top, and we're going to put 1 double in the top of the turning chain and turn, and we'll begin our 8th row. Okay, finish the 7th row. Time to start the 8th row. So we're going to start as we have been starting with 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Miss the next double crochet, so we're going to skip this one and V-stitch in the center here of the 5 doubles below. And continue across 5 doubles in the V-stitch to the last 7 double crochets. So we're going to get to the end. Here's 5, 6, 7. That makes sense. 5, 6, 7. This last one is really a turning chain, but it counts as a double crochet. V-stitch in the center of the 5, miss this last double crochet, and double crochet in the top of the turning chain and turn. Okay, so miss this double crochet and double crochet in here. V-stitch as usual, skip and double in the end. Then it says we're going to work 6 rows even in patterns, so we're not going to be doing any of this skipping or anything. We're going to work it just even in pattern. And then get this, repeat the last 14 rows, which this is 6. So we go 1 through 8 plus the 6 is 14 rows, 3 times more. So we're going to go, we've done this once, we're going to do 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do it 3 more times. So the total of 4 times these 14 rows. And when we get to the end, we should have 13 and a half repeats of our shell pattern. Okay, 13 and a half, because that's the gray that we're working, or kind of the brownish tannish color for that. So I will come back somewhere mid in that process and kind of show you where we're going, what it looks like. Here's the pattern. Oops, here's the fabric so far. And again, the angle is angling inward in a decrease type pattern. All right, I have completed one time the 14 row series, and let me try to bring this up so you can see the whole thing. Here we go. So I did 1 row of the next series, and I'm starting the 2nd row of the next series. So you can see here on the edge how it's been brought in. Then we did the 6 rows that were straight, and now we're beginning another one. Don't be upset or distressed over what your edge looks like. It will go together nicely with the edge of the front, and all of this will be worked out and really be very seamless, and will really just flow down in the dress very, very nicely. So it kind of all just takes in, I don't know how to say it, but it works itself out in the seams, and so that's not a concern or a worry at all. You're going to see a little bit of that, and especially you're really only seeing it because I'm laying it against this graph board here, and it really allows you to see all the just minute differences. So again, don't worry about it. It's going to come out in the seams. So I'll catch you back after I complete this next 14 row series. This is what has happened. I have worked the first 8 rows plus the additional 6 rows to that, which makes a 14 row repeat. And I did that once, and then I did it 3 times more. And what I did is I used my sticky note like I showed you to mark the row in the 1 through 8. And when I got to 6 more rows in even, I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then as I did finish each row, I ticked it off. And then it says here, repeat the last 14 rows 3 more times. So I wrote 1 through 6 3 more times, used my sticky note to go through the 8, and then ticked off the 6, and as you can see, we're finished. It does have a check for when you have finished your last of these decreasing rows, and it says that you should have, in the large size that I'm working, 13.5 shell patterns. So I did check and count that. Whenever you see a check like that, always use it and do it, because you'd hate to get farther along and find out that it didn't match. So now we're on the continue even in pattern until work from the beginning, your base chain, all the way to where you are, measures for me in the large 30.5 inches. And I just took that measurement. And I am at 28 inches. So I will have some more rows to be working on, but I just wanted to see if I could get us up high enough to see. I have it folded in half, but here's the fabric. You can see here, let me unfold it so you can see it single layer. You can see the decreases. It looks rough, but truly when you get to stitching it together with the front, it will be nice and smooth, and especially when it hangs, and it's just, it feels just lovely. It's got some weight to it, so this is going to hang with some weight. Remember that when you choose whatever you choose to go underneath of it, which obviously you can see through it, you're going to need to do, which I think is what makes, part of what makes this black dress going to be so much fun, is that you could put so many different colors underneath it and almost have a different dress. It would look like almost like a different dress every time you wore it if you changed colors, if you had a few different options. So I think that's what's really fun. Now again, this is the back. I have just completed, this is the end, the last little bit that I have, 6 skeins. So I'm going to start on my 7th skein of yarn to work these last, what I said, I had 28 inches, so I need 2.5 more inches, which I'm guessing is going to be at least 2 to 4 rows, probably about 2 to 4 rows there.